Hello, and welcome to the Come to Your Senses podcast. I'm your host, embodiment-based coach, Mary Lofgren. Here, we explore how to live bravely and beautifully through a lifestyle of embodiment. You'll hear gems to empower you around mindset, mindfulness, somatic psychology, and neuroscience, as well as beauty, food, style, and the art of slow living to meet your soul through the senses. I am so happy that you're here. Let's begin. Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Come to Your Senses. I am flying high after a delicious weekend that featured a Taylor Swift dance party and lots of other fun social gatherings, but was kicked off by a lingerie fitting at a beautiful store called Hello Gorgeous here in Asheville, North Carolina, if you're ever in the neighborhood, with two really amazing bra fitters and supporters of women. And I went with a good friend who had never had a professional bra fitting, and I'm always shocked at how many of my friends and followers report that they've never experienced any professional support around this aspect of our wardrobe that is most likely worn the most frequently, and yet is the part of our wardrobe that many people invest in the least and update the least frequently. So today, we are going to be exploring self-love, self-romance, self-seduction through the art and the joy of lingerie. What lingerie really symbolizes to me is energy. I mean, it symbolizes a lot of things. This energy that we call the feminine, the energy of really adorning one's self in a way that feels gorgeous and seductive and pampering. But just like all of the things that we talk about here on Come to Your Senses regarding sensual living, what we're really talking about is a shift in your energy. A quote from Lebo Grand is, "Always wear sexy lingerie. Others might not see it, but trust me, they feel it." And as I was preparing for this episode, I was really disturbed, to be honest, around the hypersexualization of lingerie and the way that a lot of lingerie is designed to suit and perform in the eyes of the male gaze. And you might agree that a lot of lingerie that falls into the show pony category, which today we're going to explore some of the different categories of lingerie and what I recommend having in your lingerie collection. The show pony is that set that is almost certainly going to be seen at some point and may not be the highest level of comfort, but has those details that just make you feel really gorgeous, just like a pair of high-heeled shoes or a dress that, once again, you might not wear to the playground, but is so beautiful that you're willing to compromise a little bit on comfort. And it makes a lot of sense to me why lingerie is such an understudied, undervalued aspect of our wardrobe, because of course you don't want to spend a bunch of money on something that feels uncomfortable and that isn't even really designed for you. And so in today's episode, I am going to take you by the hand like your fairy godmother and open up the wardrobe to the magical world of pleasurable, confident lingerie shopping. As my friend Hooray Kamei likes to say. She is a lingerie educator and a body positive activist. And we actually recorded an interview a few episodes ago. We'll drop those in the show notes, as well as a link to some of Kame's amazing offerings. And she was describing how lingerie covers the most sacred parts of our body. You know, a bra covers not only the breasts, but the heart. And panties or underwear cover not only the genitals, but, you know, the organs behind the underwear. And I want to say that one does not need to have a body that is characterized as female in order to enjoy the pleasures of lingerie. So regardless of what kind of body that you have, what kind of parts your body has, what your gender identity is, I hope that today serves you in diving into the box of chocolates that lingerie is, with its lime green lace and eyelash detail and all the different details that make lingerie so joyful. Additionally, if you go to schoolofsensualliving.com/legend, LEGEND, you can get your free copy of a PDF guide of my personal legends of lingerie. These are different brands as well as specific items that I think are just the creme de la creme. And this guide includes not just specific brands for your undergarments, but also for things like sleepwear and shapewear and products you can use to pamper your lingerie. And so again, head to schoolofsensualliving.com/legend after listening to this episode to download your free copy. You can also find a link in the show notes. So let's dive in to our gems. So the first gem is leaving it to the professionals. I am always both amazed and saddened by how many of my friends and followers and colleagues have never had a professional take care of their body in the fitting of their lingerie. There are many times in my life where I have felt desolate and alone. But probably one of the most is in the bra department at a department store or at TJ Maxx. Every bra company and every lingerie company is different. Everyone's sizes differently. And also every body is so different. And professional bra fitters, which almost always, in my experience, offer their services for free, where you can schedule a fitting, come in, and have someone who has worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of different bodies and who knows their products intimately, really fit you in a way that works for you, so that you're not bumbling around in the dark in some lonesome, fluorescently lit dressing room in a department store. So my first recommendation in order to have more joy in this aspect of your life is to research bra fitters in your city or in the city that's closest to you. And my experience with lingerie shops is that I've bought beautiful items from brands like Agent Provocateur and Kiki de Montparnasse and, you know, these high-end luxury lingerie brands. But where I've gotten the most expert fitting and the best fitting garments is in these little hideaway shops in strip malls where someone who this is their craft has just opened their own small business And I also find that those who work with the cancer survivor population, breast cancer survivor population, who have had mastectomies or breast augmentation, there are actually certifications that you can get to fit a person's body who has had an augmentation. And so if that's a community that you belong to and an identity that you hold, know that there are people out there who are specially trained to work with supporting you and supporting your body. And my experience is that fitters who work with that segment of the population often have a really great understanding of the body and how to fit it. So leaving it to the professionals. The next gem is that once you schedule your fitting, it's time for the big debut in the dressing room. Now, know that some of these little boutiques may not be in the most royal and luxurious establishments, and you might be facing a big fat ceiling of fluorescent lights. Like, you just never know what you're going to be walking into. And so I recommend, prior to a lingerie fitting, adorning yourself with earrings, makeup, hair, bringing a pair of high heels, bringing the kind of garments that you typically wear, or if you're looking for, say, a low-cut bra to fit a low-cut top, bring that top so that you have a sense of how it all looks and how it all feels. You'll probably be with the fitter for anywhere from 20 minutes to, my friend and I were with them for 2.5 hours, which was extraordinary and exhausting. We both face planted into a nap afterwards. But just as I like to say with my clients when we meet on Zoom, the experience that we have is often directly proportionate to our willingness to become present and our ability to become present before having that experience. And so doing some pampering and some preparation before you stand in front of the mirror and try on different garments can be a really self-loving action to take. The next gem is around working with voices of self-criticism. When you do find yourself in front of a mirror, whether you're at a major retailer or in the room with a professional bra fitter, whatever, it's really common to look in the mirror and to have perhaps some voices of criticism. And in a moment, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about fit and how things should feel. But before we go anywhere near that, anywhere near the logistics and the specifics, I want you to remember that, first of all, you're trying something new. When we're trying on bras, we're looking for different sizes. We're looking for different textures and colors, and certain colors might just look like mold on your skin, and certain shapes might just look like so unflattering and so unadorning to the masterpiece that your body is. And so just go in knowing that that's to be expected. Going in and knowing that that's to be expected can be really helpful in staying buoyant around any voices of self-criticism or body judgment that may come up. Going to the appointment with an encouraging friend who will tell you the truth about the fit in a loving, complimentary way can also be a wonderful insurance policy and defense against those conditioned voices of self-criticism. The next gem is around secrets regarding the fit of your undergarments. Now, I am not a professional bra fitter, so I can't give you all the ins and outs of these details. If you want those ins and outs, however, you can go to schoolofsensualliving.com/bra, B-R-A, and you will discover my friend Kamei Caldwell, the lingerie educator that I talked about a moment ago, has a beautiful and affordable program on, really a masterclass in how to find a comfortable bra that fits your body to stop wasting your money. And she actually has a free bra fit guide that, again, is totally free. And she also has this paid course if you want to go deeper. So schoolofsensualliving.com/bra to find out more about that course if you want to go deeper into fit. But one thing I do know for sure about fit is that with a bra, the fit is, I'm just going to throw out a ratio here. This is completely unscientific, but 70 to 80% of the fit of the bra actually comes from the band. And then that remaining percent is what comes from the cup. The band is kind of like the foundation of the house. And when I say band, I mean the part that goes around your ribs and snaps closed in the back. Think of that as like the foundation of the house. And then the frame of the house is the cup. And I would say that most women, from what I've heard and just what I've seen, most women and people who wear bras tend to wear a size too big in the cup and a size too small in the band. I was shocked to discover that, well, first of all, when I was 16 or 17, I got my first bra probably when I was 13, and I got an A cup, and Old Faithful did me right. And then when I was about 16 or 17, a friend said to me in a dressing room, "You need to get a new bra." And I went to Victoria's Secret, which was the retailer in the mall. And she said, "Honey, you're a C cup," which was shocking to me. And similarly, I went to get a bra fitting not long ago, a couple years ago. And she said, "Oh, honey, you're a G cup." And this is another thing that I feel like so many bra wearers find surprising, is that while we are often wearing a size too big in the band and a size too small in the band and a size too big in a cup, I was wearing 36, 38, D or double D. And really, I was meant to be wearing a 34 or a 32 even band and a G. There's so many different sizes out there. A G cup bra. And my understanding is that the most common size for a woman's body is a D or double D. Whereas when you go to the department store, I feel like you're really fortunate if you can find a bra that's over a D cup. And I remember going to La Petite Coquette, which was a fabulous lingerie store in New York many years ago. And I was fit by one of their fitters there, who was just amazing and just really changed my life, when she gave me a Chantel balconette bra. Remember it so fondly. And all of a sudden, I have G-cup breasts, so they are heavy and they pull my shoulders forward. And all of a sudden, I put on this bra and I just felt like I had slipped into a hot tub. It made me feel so much more comfortable in my body. And that is the magic of having a bra that really fits your body. I would also say, in terms of fit, that the wider the band, that part that covers your ribs, and the wider the straps, the more hold and support you'll likely have, and the more comfortable the bra is likely to be. And we'll talk a little bit more about those details in a moment when we get to the next gem. But before we go to that, I want to just touch on the fit of undergarments, underwear, panties, whatever you like to call them. Some people hate the word panties. I personally love it. And, there are over a dozen different cuts of different panties out there. You've got boy shorts and cheekies and thongs and briefs and bikinis and inventing new ones every day. And what I recommend, and this is going to be a link featured in the Legendary Lingerie guide that, once again, you can download at schoolofsensualliving.com/legend. And, there are so many different kinds of cuts that fit so much differently on different bodies. For example, some people who have fuller butts love the fit of a boy short because it gives them just a lot of wiggle room. Some people feel like a boy short their butt eats the boy short in one big chomp. Some people love to wear thongs because they don't feel like they're wearing underwear. Some people wear thongs and feel like they have a floss undergarment pressing against some of their most delicate parts all day long. And so in the guide, you will find a link to an article that I found really helpful in understanding the way that different garments play with your shape. Personally, my favorite shape is the cheeky. The cheeky is kind of like a mix between a brief and a boy short, where you get this full coverage, but there's a little bit of a sexy angled kind of quality to it. And, I really discovered that through trial and error. I've tried probably all different kinds of cuts when it comes to undergarments. And this is absolutely one area where I can say that in my experience, you kind of get what you pay for. I had a pair of Agent Provocateur underwear that was $70 on sale. And I had an earnings goal at that time. And I said, if I meet my goal, I'm going to buy myself this set from Agent Provocateur. So I did. And good golly, I had those underwear for a long time. I mean, we're talking maybe even double digits in the years. And I never got sick of them, and they never stopped fitting well. The only reason I had to get rid of them was because I wore them until the lace literally broke. That was holding the whole operation together. And I do find that, I don't have a whole drawer full of luxury top line brand underwear, but in the Lingerie Legend guide, you'll find some of my favorite sturdy, dependable, quality, and also gorgeous brands across all different ranges of price, so that you can experiment with what fit works best for you. The next gem is about assembling your horses in the stable. So Kamei, in her episode, talks about the 5 bras every woman needs. And you can also find that in an article on her website. I like to categorize my lingerie into 3 different categories, or at least my bras and panties. There's all sorts of items in lingerie like shapewear and teddies and tap pants and chemises, all of which are gorgeous and delicious additions to your lingerie. But when it comes to just kind of the essentials, I believe that you have your Clydesdales, your thoroughbreds, and your show ponies. So my Clydesdale collection is the bras that I wear every day. These are the panties that are really durable. I have a set of briefs that have a bit of a lace detail, but they're mostly just cotton underwear, and they're so comfortable and they fit so well. So they have like a little bit of that sexy edge, but still like uber comfort. The bra that I wear all the time, I call it my 747. It's the one I was sized for 3 years ago in the, I don't remember if I told that story or not, but it's just got unparalleled, superior fit and has retained its shape for 3 years. I'm like amazed by it. And it's got a ton of structural support. It's ginormous. And so I call it my 747, like the airplane. And these are the items that are no-brainers, easy to reach for. You might love non-underwire bras for your everyday, or bralettes. Got a couple brands in the Lingerie Legend Guide that feature non-underwire options and bralettes that are really beautiful and also really supportive. So those are your Clydesdales. Those are your workhorses. Then you have your thoroughbreds. And these are things like strapless bras that maybe have a low cut. They're not worn super often. They're worn in specialty contexts and occasions, but they do the job. They do it well. They're sleek. They're sophisticated. They're innovative. And then you have the show ponies. And these are the items that, like a fabulous pair of shoes that has a limited time frame in which to wear it, and your feet will be able to survive. Every pair of shoes I feel like I have has a wear time. Some are like an hour, some are all day. And these are items where they may not be the most comfortable, they may not be the most versatile or sensible, whatever you want to call it, but they have the most beautiful details. And you can get gorgeous bras with beautiful details. They're also very supportive and sensible. Don't get me wrong. But then there are some that have, maybe like a balconette detail, which is a kind of fit where only half of the breast is covered. And so the breast just rises like a beautiful little cupcake in the bra. I sometimes buy these pieces when I'm wearing a garment where if a little bit of the bra is visible, I kind of want that, maybe like a low cut or lower cut shirt where the lace of the bra peeks out a little bit, or if I'm wearing a top or a dress where the bra straps are visible and I want like a cool contrasting color, that's where my show ponies typically tend to come in. And then once you have made some additions to your collection, I recommend purging after you purchase. So when you get home, depending on what the return and exchange policy is at the shop where you purchased your undergarments, I recommend wearing the bra for a little while once you get home to really get a sense of how the fit is beyond just the initial try on. And if it feels good, that is a piece you'll add to your collection. And a lot of people will purge their lingerie collection before they go shopping. But I recommend doing it after so that you have a sense, if you get a professional fitting, of what a bra that fits well feels like. And then you can go through your collection with a little bit more sensibility around the fit that you need, the sizes that you need, and what can stay and what can go. Similarly, you might be wearing a bra that you feel like you love and that you feel like one would have to pry from your dead, lifeless fingers. But once you have a professional fitting, you might discover that actually there's an even better option out there and you can have a burial for it in the backyard. And the final gem that we're going to talk about today is caring for your new lingerie companions. So when I think of my Clydesdale, this is embarrassing to say, but I'm just going to say it because we got to normalize how our relationship to this aspect of life can be. Because I love that bra so much, I was saying to my friend that I was shopping with, if this were a dog, it would be a poodle with like just completely matted fur, because I hardly ever wash it because I wear it so often. And the girls at the lingerie shop gave me this fabulous lingerie wash that I went home and I gave the Clydesdale a beautiful bath, and it felt so good. And it's actually a kind of wash where you just soak the item in the sink and you agitate it a little bit, and where you don't even have to rinse it, and it leaves behind this beautiful, very mild fragrance. And so giving your babies a bath can be a delicious way to love on these items of your wardrobe that often do so much for you. And then once you've washed them, it's recommended that you lay them flat to dry instead of hanging them to dry. And also that, you lay them flat so that they can retain their shape and regain their shape. And it's also recommended, I learned this from Hello Gorgeous, that you give the bra a day or two to recover in between wears, once again, in order to keep its shape. We'll see how that goes now that I have a whole new collection or items to add to my collection. We'll see if the Clydesdale gets to rest its weary legs now and then, but giving it a little bit of time for the fabric and the mesh and the cups and all of that to regain their shape can be really helpful to preserving the garment. And then with storage, when you go to a lingerie store or retailer where there are those drawers, you might notice that the bras are all stacked there like little macarons, and they're not laid on top of each other, but they're more nested into one another. And that can be a really useful thing to just give the bra all the breathing space that it needs. And I personally love to outfit my lingerie drawer. I have a dream that someday I have a giant, gorgeous bedroom with a whole armoire full of lingerie. But in the meantime, using beautiful lining paper, adding sachets of dried lavender, or even occasionally misting your undergarments with your favorite perfume can be a really lovely and sensuous way to furnish the home of your lingerie. And then finally, building a beautiful lingerie collection that really meets your needs is an ongoing romance. So my friend was joking that, once a decade, she replaces her lingerie items. And so she said to the shopkeepers, "See you in 10 years. And that is one trusty approach. And I also wonder, a lot of times the reason that we might resist or hesitate to invest in lingerie is because of frustration around the fit, or, buying. If you only replace and furnish your lingerie every couple of years, that means that you're going to be laying down a couple $100 most likely every couple of years. And just like any other form of nutrition, the binge starve model is not the most sustainable or pleasurable way to go about it. And so one recommendation I would have is that when you leave the fitter, if you had a great experience, perhaps you can consider setting up a second fitting anywhere from next season to 6 months from now to whatever time period feels great for you, in order to have this be a regular rotating part of how you care for yourself through your style. And regarding investment, I can't tell you the amount of times I've spent hundreds of dollars on a garment that I intend to wear once or twice, that I get for like a special event. And I mean, I'm a pretty glamorous dresser, so I usually wear them more than that, but it's really common for a person to spend a higher amount of money on an item that they wear less frequently than the other things in their wardrobe. And keep in mind that our undergarments are things that we wear every single day. And so they are worth investing in. You are worth investing in. Your comfort, your beauty, and your pleasure are worth investing in. And so, my friends, once again, if you desire even more guidance and specificity around brands that may serve you in your exploration of lingerie, download the Legends of Lingerie guide at schoolofsensualliving.com/legend, LEGEND. And there you'll find some of my favorite brands, one of my favorite subscription services, as well as some of my favorite lingerie categories that we didn't talk about today, such as shapewear and sleepwear and things like that. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would tickle me pink with a baby pink ostrich feather if you would be so kind to leave a review. Reviews are such an integral part of how we grow and share the podcast organically with listeners just like you. And so every time you share an episode with a friend personally or on social media, know that I am so grateful and that I would love to hear from you in our reviews on iTunes. If you're unsure how to do that, you can go to schoolofsensualliving.com/review for a 1-minute video. And signing off from the land of luxurious lingerie, thank you as always for listening. I will see you in the next episode. For coaching, classes, and community in creating a lifestyle of embodiment, head to schoolofsensualliving.com. There you'll find a free video series on how to reduce anxiety and intercept the stress response through powerful, confident body language. Head to schoolofsensualliving.com/confidence to watch your first video today.